Hi, and welcome back to CKP Last Call. This time with the person who named CKP Last Call, right there, Jon Osborne.
The
Oz, yeah,
wherever you are.
Yep, he's down. Yeah, there we go. Fourth try. That's also how I do pointing in StreamYard. So yeah,
yeah,
it's easy for me.
It's Oz. Yeah. Oz got it.
I haven't had that much stream
yet. So we're getting started, y'all. So I'll have everyone go around, introduce themselves, and we can go. For me, it's a triangle. We'll go Kacey, Jamie, Oz. So we'll do some introductions, and then we're just gonna see where the night and our drinks take us. So go for it, Kacey.
Hi, I'm Kacey Ezell, and I write lots of books. I write books. I don't know about lots, especially compared to some, but I write lots of types of books. So we got science fiction and fantasy and military stuff and some alternate history and full disclosure, I am not drinking alcohol tonight because I never do. So, but I will be enjoying my super what's the word I'm looking for? Super exciting,
classy
watermelon flavored water.
Heck yes, it's infused.
Watermelon infused water. So cheers to that. Also,
right.
I think we need a drinking game.
Okay. Watermelon infused water. You should.
A minute and a half, and we've already got the bad ideas started. This is fabulous.
Correct.
Another person that's not drinking alcohol suggests, hey, we should have a drinking game.
Yeah, well, of course she does. Also, Kacey did, just so you all know.
Safety.
Yeah, exactly. So those of you out there should probably know that Kacey did vow as we were coming in to be ready to stir things up as needed. So she's just keeping her word for us as she does.
That's right. Yeah.
What's it? Do you already have an idea for a drinking game? Is that why you're excited?
A little bit.
Of course you do. Go ahead, just tell us, and we'll decide.
So I think anytime the word shenanigans come up, everybody drinks. That's an obvious one, right? So cheers, shenanigans. And also every time Marisa messes with her hair.
Oh, fuck no, we'll die. I have to stay conscious. Yeah.
600.
We're gonna get that stuff where like Kacey consciously does it in order to get Marisa to
and then mirror. I was like, oh shit, yeah, I just saw that bump over there.
And then we're all like pouring out of our chairs onto the floor.
You're welcome, internet. You are welcome.
Yeah. I'm gonna say yes to shenanigans, hard pass on my hair because my hair is making me sad today. Okay, so cheers. I'm touching that a lot.
Okay, cheers.
Okay. Oh, right, because I said it. Fuck everything.
Wow.
Also,
maybe every swear word. How about that? That's a good one, right?
Oh, I don't know. That could get dangerous as we get more imbibed.
Okay. Well,
that's the point of a drinking game.
Yeah, Nick isn't here, so there is that. So
I wouldn't get too confident in that, us, given this crew.
Isn't there like a 15-minute rule for YouTube videos? Like
we already broke it.
It is 10, sir. It is only 10.
Oh, we're 3 minutes in, to be clear, and I've already said fuck twice. So it's
3 times.
Everybody edited it out, right?
I thought that was my second time, but maybe, who knows?
Oh dear.
Yeah. Yep, Jamie, why don't you introduce yourself?
I'm Jamie. This is Naomi. She's supervising.
Naomi. Precious.
I write books too. Like Kacey, I'm also genre fluid. Science fiction, military sci-fi, fantasy, cyberpunk. I'm kind of doing a cyberpunk reset with my Myrmidon's book, and we're going to call it Starpunk because apparently there are some very strict rules as to what qualifies as cyberpunk and what does not, and aliens means it's not cyberpunk anymore. So we're going to call it Starpunk instead.
Okay.
Later this year.
Xenophobic, but all right.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, well,
rules is rules.
That's how it is on the street, Chummer.
All right, now we know.
Yeah.
Shatter, run, look out. Mutants, yes.
That's
aliens, no. All right.
Yeah, that's all for me.
Awesome. All right, Oz.
I am Jon R. Osborne, and I am also genre fluid.
Yeah, you are.
I drink and I write things, mostly in urban fantasy and military science fiction, and then dabble in anything else when it gives me a chance to write in.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Didn't you have a book come out recently, Jon?
Yes, Hunting the Heart, the fifth book in my urban fantasy series, and it also comes out in audio May 16th.
Ooh, that's exciting.
That's exciting. That might be soon.
Morning for it, so
Yeah, very cool.
Oh, that's so fun. Awesome. And I am Marisa Wolf. I am nominally the host of this situation, which is fun. And that really just means I get to drink and hang out with my friends. So there'll be no moderation. There will just be shenanigans.
Cheers.
Didn't do that one on purpose. Apologies. If it makes you feel better, I had a good heavy pour on this. So gonna be great. Okay. So I heard a rumor that we wanted to do something a little different in this one. So there are so many options for CKP Last Call. And Kacey and Oz voted to pull one of those options. So how do you want to tell the folks what they won for watching this episode?
Yes. Congratulations, Internet. You have won an exclusive one night only pass to, well, it's not really one night because you can watch the video a bunch of times. We're going to brainstorm for you in front of you. New idea that only Oz and I have just barely started to discuss. And so we're going to, I think we're going to brief it to them. Does that sound right, Oz? And then kind of
that sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to start? It was sort of. Yeah, kind of a reaction video. Yeah.
This started as an off comment in a chat where someone, compared angry moms to a demon.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, demon mom. And then her children are threatened and her magical powers come out.
Interesting.
And then a few minutes later, Kacey pings me and goes, I'll write that with you.
Mm-hmm. I was like, dude, I'm in. Let's do it in 2025. That's neither here nor there.
That was in the group. Yeah, I remember seeing that. Yep, that checks out.
Which is good because we both have full dockets.
Yeah.
But it's based, obviously it's urban fantasy, and the basic premise is it's based on a family that's descended from Nephilim. Which, if you don't know what Nephilim are, they're the progeny of angels and humans. And in this case, of course, keeping with the whole demon mom theme, it was, the original Nephilim descended from a fallen angel. Mm-hmm. And so, in modern era, things start happening to the family. All of a sudden, problems start popping up that are beyond the pale of normal. And our various branches of the family start manifesting supernatural abilities.
Yeah.
In response to these threats.
Oh.
Yeah.
So not just like the mom and her kids. We're going broad.
No.
Well, see, I mean, you got your whole family tree, so there's lots of branches.
Right.
In fact, there could be like a branch for each book.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Or author.
Same.
How interesting.
Yeah.
How weird.
Yeah. Funny you should say that. So let me give you the sort of backstory that to the overall series that Oz and I sort of were discussing. So the idea is that in this cosmology, angels are really extraplanar creatures, right? Mm-hmm. But when they show up here on Earth, they're so overpowered that it drives them mad, and then they become forces of chaos. So coming to Earth on purpose is the act of falling. So if they're here for longer than a finite period of time to do a certain task, they are fallen. You know what I mean? And usually end up doing really bad things because they are overpowered and mad, crazy, right? Mm-hmm. The one thing that has ever worked to keep a fallen being, a fallen one, from losing their mind and turning chaotic like that is true love. And the only reason we know this is because that's what happened in this particular case to start this family. So a grandmother or great grandmother or something like that, a couple of generations back, fell in love with a mortal man and came to Earth and basically limited her power or whatever, and had children, and those children, had their own children. And so that's how the family tree started. And she was so dependent upon her husband that when he died, because he's mortal, she left. She couldn't go home, but she left to a different plane. So we don't know where she is. So that is
Fun.
Yeah, that's a hanging fish hook out there that someone can play with if we need to. Yeah.
So it's kind of like an updated version of like the Swan wife or the Selkie wife, where there's like this immortal fairy tale creature and the husband steals her skin so she can't switch and she has to be mortal, but instead she's like shedding it.
Except that in this case, she chose to.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Updated, way better. Yes.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. So the idea that we had was that, I guess I'll talk about the big bad. Is that okay? You think?
Yeah, because I mean, all 5 people are going to watch this.
Hey, we've gotten up to 80s, so you can suck it.
Well, so let me just say this. So the idea is that there are beings from her home plane, from the grandmother's home plane, who were searching for her and want her back. And so we do have incursions, like there start to be more and more incursions of these extraplanar creatures. And that complicates matters, right?
Oh, sure.
So let me jump in real quick just to clarify. If it's urban fantasy, is magic overt, or is it secret society stuff, kind of like in MHI, where there's like stuff that happens behind the curtain and most of the mundanes don't ever see it? Or
I would say it's like secret society, Freemason.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think at the beginning of the series, like the descendants don't know.
It's a normal world. Yeah.
Yeah. They don't know why. Like this mom doesn't know why, when her kid is getting bullied and the school isn't doing anything about it, she accidentally sets the principal's office on fire. You know what I mean? Like she doesn't know why it happened.
Right. Haven't we all wanted?
So in my brain, I've got 2 ways to do it, and obviously it would completely change the entire nature of the series. But way one is that magic is overt, and this family, for whatever reason, they not only do not, but they cannot manifest magic, and they don't know why until the critical incident occurs and kind of uncorks the bottle, so to speak. That's one way to do it. The other way to do it would be to keep the whole thing on the down low, and it's a mundane world, and that kind of leans more into paranormal than urban fantasy. But it occurs to me that a neat way to tie that all together, especially if you're looking at grandma or great grandma, would be to have the reason that great grandma came to Earth was to intervene in perhaps a major conflict that was happening overseas in Europe or North Africa or the Middle East, where some really bad stuff was happening and the forces of good needed to do something about it. And then she happened to fall in love with a certain service member who brought her home as a war bride.
I was kind of thinking too that we're talking like World War II generation, war bride type situation, just because I love the romance of that,
Stories. So are you guys thinking that these offspring will manifest they'll all manifest slightly differently? Like they'll have different aspects of this overpowered thing?
Yeah, I think
that makes it more fun.
Yeah.
If they have the same power, that's not nearly as fun.
Yeah.
Agreed. If they're just like a microcosm of it, but if they've got like one strand or a piece or like a weird combo,
Well, and then the other thing too is that I think we wanted to have at a certain point they come together within the series, right? At a certain point, like they start talking and realizing like, oh shit, weird shit happens to you too. Like weird shit happens to me, because they're
all these bad things. Might they be connected?
And then eventually, like one sibling is jealous of the other sibling who got wings and stuff. You're like, you can fly? Why can't I fly? I want to be able
You're afraid of heights. I love skydiving.
Maybe not them, but like the teenage kids, like, what the fuck, mom?
Yeah.
Like her powers are way better than yours, Yeah.
Oh, that'd be super fun.
You take a level of badass.
Yeah.
I wanted a seraph sword.
Yeah, right.
How come my eyes don't glow? I just get these weird scales.
Where's my hellhound? Yeah.
Mom, stupid cousin's allergic to dogs, and she got a hellhound. It's fucked up.
So yeah, so that was
You
sort of
throw in like, well, I want to name him Cerberus. No. That's Greek.
That's
You
too far.
can't. That's
Yeah,
totally
yeah.
different.
We're crossing the streams here. We can't cross the
Yeah,
streams too far.
don't do that.
Who knows what will happen?
Fine.
Fine, we'll call him Gar. Oh,
have you guys ever seen that meme that says like Cerberus actually means spot?
Yes.
Yes.
It makes me really
Yes.
happy.
If we should
Yeah.
do that line, we're like, oh, yeah, I want to name it something cool like Cerberus. Like, no, you can't name it Cerberus. Name it something like totally normal, like Spot.
Wait a second. That'd be really cute. I like that.
But yeah, so that's the seed of the idea.
I like it.
That's super fun. I like it a lot.
Yeah. So I think if we were pitching it, like let's pretend that the books exist or whatever. I think if I were pitching it to random people, I'd be like, I probably would emphasize, that I might call it paranormal, actually, Jamie, now that I think about it, I might call it paranormal.
If your paranormal is, then people expect that other word.
Romance.
I think there's both,
romance
yeah.
thing?
But
Well-
it usually goes with something, right? Like paranormal mystery or paranormal.
Yeah, you could call it a
Always.
paranormal adventure.
Thriller.
Yeah.
Paranormal
Yeah.
thriller.
Yeah.
But here's the other way that you could do it is you could have it like everything is very like on the down low and the weird stuff starts happening and nobody understands it, and then they gradually start to understand it, and then like somewhere around the climax of book 2, it turns out there's a lot of other families out there as well, and they've all been keeping it secret too.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be fun. Yeah.
Right. And then I'll like, hold up, like we're on the same team.
Yeah. Because that's a fun thing.
Are
Like,
they?
right.
Or are they? That's
Or
right.
are they? Because that's a
Yeah.
fun thing that has
Ignore the
come up
bat
with.
wings.
Because what happens when you get more than 3 people together? They form factions.
Yeah.
Exactly. 2 people even. But you've got
Do we
like
have factions right now?
we could. I don't know.
All
Team
right.
girl, team
Well,
boy.
there's the Canadian faction right there.
Canuck
It's
over
a
here.
Canadian faction.
The Canadian faction.
Cat people,
Boys
dog people.
versus
I don't know.
girls. I don't know.
But we did something
Ex-military,
similar.
not ex-military.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Look at the
Beer
ecos-
drinker,
look
liquor
at, like,
drinkers,
all
no drinkers.
Yeah, drinkers, non-drinkers. That's right. I guess you're right. I guess we have factions.
So
Glasses,
in
no
Hit World, we did
I
something
am gonna have
similar.
to get my heel crease.
Where there you go. Where in Hit World, it was like it's urban fantasy, right? It's like magic exists, but not everybody knows, and people try really hard to keep it secret. But the further you get into the world, the more you know. Oh, more and more people know about it. They just call it different things or do different things with it or whatever. And I always think that's so fun. Like Dresden has done something similar too. Like you're like, oh, the wizards, like I'm the only wizard in the phone book, but nobody believes I'm an actual wizard. JK, a lot of people believe I'm an actual wizard because there are all these different societies.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
that is a fun trope. I do like that trope. That is a, where you discover like, oh, I thought I was alone, but turns out.
So who do you put the focus on for the character? Like who's your protagonist in something like that?
Well, in each book, it could be a person in each branch of the family.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then, bring it all together in a final book for a big showdown with Big Bad.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Adventure style. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a fun level up, like book to book, right? Like book 1, the world is normal. Oh shit, no, it's not, but it's just us. Book 2, oh shit, it's not just us, it's these other people. Book 3, oh fuck, like there are other dimensions. There's like all this mess. What's happening?
Well, and then the other thing too that I thought would be kind of a sort of a fun parallel to that is that as they discover more about the world the way that it really is, they're also discovering more about their family history. And who their grandmother was, and kind of learning that whole story too.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you've heard the song Copperhead Row, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So you know how like each like set of lyrics, the music becomes more complicated.
Yeah.
That's what I picture.
Oh, yeah. Fun. Yeah.
You have the first, set of verses. And then another instrument comes in and the music gets a little more complicated. And then
the whole thing just
it just layers.
You've got this.
Yeah. That's super fun.
I love that song.
Until the end, you have the whole band playing.
Yeah.
That's super fun.
That's a really good metaphor, Oz.
Yeah. You could also find a way to work that into your title or your subtitle or something.
Yeah. But
Like
then people will
Copper
think it's about bootlegging and
Well, not the
And-
exact same thing, like not the actual thing, because then you own copyright.
Right.
But like an homage, so it's like it's Copper Row is the road they live on, or something, or like their
Oh, yeah.
grandparents' home is on.
Like an
Whatever.
Easter egg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a
Yeah,
fun,
yeah.
I think that could be fun.
That would be fun. That would be fun. Yeah.
So instead in Kentucky, call it Cottonmouth Road.
Cottonmouth.
Okay.
You could,
Dropping things.
or
Yeah.
it's like you got the penny arcade. I mean, you could tie in copper and not Copperhead. Like there are fun things you could play with.
Yeah.
Or like the demons have copper eyes or something. Not the demons.
That would be
the fallen
pretty.
angels.
Yeah. That would be really pretty, actually. That's a cool, yeah.
Here to help.
You're so good. So, Marisa, you want to write a book about a demon mom?
I do. 100% do. Yeah. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, what you just witnessed was a hey.
I said so. Marisa.
She said so. And to be fair, at the very beginning, I was like, is this like a multiple author thing? Or
Right. Yes, it
to be
is.
fair, I asked also.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so again, full disclosure, the initial like concept that Oz and I discussed was like, okay, if we get him plus me plus say, I don't know, like 3 others,
mhm,
and we have each book focus on one, like he said, branch of the family,
mhm,
and
mhm.
then they all come together. That's a 6-book series, right?
Mhm.
And if we do it right, we could do it in such a way that like we're all kind of writing the books at the same time.
Mhm.
So then
You get
Right
different.
about-
You get the same event from different perspectives.
and you have instant series as well.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And like, we were talking about, possibly, the idea of maybe setting them like every 2 months. So you have 1 year, the series comes out over the course of 1 year. Every
Yeah.
2
That's fun.
months, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yes, kind of like a braided story, right? Like
Mhm.
same series of events, different points of view, bring it all
Mhm.
together at the end. A book every 2 months. So we have a year's worth of this series. And again, I don't want to give spoilers, but we talked about ending it on a note that allows for future works as well. So
Yeah,
Nice.
set up a sandbox, kind of like I did with the Malaysian Accords.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah. It does. It perfectly establishes a future sandbox. So.
And then we can have the main character on each of the first 5 covers and all of them on the 6th cover.
Oh
Yeah.
damn. Yeah. Yeah.
That'd be
There you
cool.
go.
That'd be very cool.
Like
I
that.
know.
Very
That's
cool.
what. It'll be totally different, but that is what we're thinking about doing with Valkyries. Is having
very
a
cool.
different, but it's going to be very urban fantasy. So it'll be a chick from behind, with a cool like some kind of magical weapon and some kind of big ass gun. Potentially both will be magical. Who knows? Just like looking over some chaotic situation, which is different. But I think would be very fun and very like, yeah, this checks out.
Marisa, for ours, can we have like the 2 women standing like next to each other?
Have to do Charlie's.
No, not butt to butt, but like
Yeah. No, butts have to be
kind
out.
of Charlie's
That's-
Angels, but more like they're just they're 2 best friends next to each other.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like it. For sure. I was thinking, this is like a mini pitch, guys. You guys should totally go read Valkyries. So we were it's fine, that's a pitch. Go see.
Go
We
read it.
were talking.
Do it now.
Yeah. I had Melissa Altoff and Bill Webb on the one of these, the first one that we recorded. You should go watch it. I don't know what order these are coming out, but when you can. Ice is coming to me. This is very exciting.
Oh, yay,
I
Ice.
drink away and then I get it back. It's gonna be so great. So we were talking about how I just reviewed the 3rd Valkyries novel, which is incredible. And the author was saying like, okay, so what if this succubus character hits on Bryn? Like, how will she respond? And I was like, well, let's be clear. Bryn's best friend and college roommate, succubus. So different kind of succubus entirely, but like she's not new. So she'll be like, that's cute. Like, it'll be fine. I was like, you should do it. And she should respond, that's cute. Thanks. And like, just move on with your day.
Oh, aren't you sweet?
Yeah. Like, oh, I love that for you. No, you're cute, but this is not going to happen. So it was a fun thing. So yes, I think both of them on the cover would be pretty badass.
I think
like
that's awesome. With red bottoms.
Why not? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
on the shoes. Yeah.
Yeah, always.
pants or both. Who knows?
Yeah. No. Well, I was talking about shoes
I know.
specifically, but yeah.
We have like a leg propped up on some rubble or something. That should be good.
Right.
You
Yeah.
can see the heel.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
great.
You guys should go read Valkyries so you can find out what the hell we're talking about.
Thank you. That's
But
right. Valkyrie's
have
Initiative out now.
Yeah, we have a bestie story. It's the last one, right?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite good.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty
What
sure
else?
I have that in my Kindle.
nice. I am very biased, obviously, because I read it like 25 times. But I really love it. It's a really great anthology.
I really love it too. It is a very great anthology. And my favorite line from my story in that one is 100% Louboutins are always a good idea. Gravel is a bad idea.
It checks out. Yeah. I mean, that's just logic. I like it.
Always.
Also,
Oh, yay.
yeah, isn't this beautiful?
It's magic.
It's magic. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, it takes so little for me to get tipsy these days. I'm like, oh, well, okay. Great.
Practice more.
That's it. Yeah, that's why we're doing this, guys. Get that liver back into shape? Question mark.
You know what we didn't do
Mm.
once we started recording? We didn't introduce what we're all drinking.
Oh,
We did not, Casey. Told you guys I wouldn't be thingamajigging, moderating. Oz, you want to start?
I'll
Go
start.
reverse.
I am drinking Tomatin 12-year Scotch, aged in bourbon and sherry cask.
that's very pinky in the air.
Well,
It is
Very.
I picked it up originally because it was also reasonably priced.
Yeah.
And when it comes to Scotch, that's a real crapshoot.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because reasonably priced can mean you're trying to drink burnt peat.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
However, this is surprisingly good for a reasonably priced Scotch. Of course, now I'm wondering, well, okay, there's a 14-year one that's a little less reasonably priced. I'm like, so how good are those?
Yeah.
Probably a
yeah.
gateway drug. Yeah.
Uh-huh. That's how they get
Yeah,
you.
like,
I have a
if
bottle
you
of
like
good,
the cheap stuff.
yeah, I
Mhm.
have a bottle of good
More.
my friend gave me that I save for like special occasions, like I turn in a book, something like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Right on, right on.
What you got, Jamie?
Jamie is drinking locally sourced. I don't know. This is the label side. So this is from Moonshine
Ooh,
Creek, a distillery about 20 minutes north of me. It's 57% or 114 proof rum. When I bought it, the guy educated me on where proof comes from and what the number actually is, because and it's especially relevant to rum, because the deal was back when the British Navy paid its soldiers in grog and booze, they needed to make sure they were actually getting alcohol. So they would mix it with gunpowder and see if they could still light it on fire. And 100% proof is it's proof that it's alcohol. That's how they basically phrased it. So
Oh, fantastic.
That is awesome.
it turns out that it's 108 is the actual number, but they weren't terribly specific back in the day. So this is 57% or 114 proof Naval Reserve rum, and I'm mixing it with that most manly of things, pink Coke.
Fuck
And
yes. I love it.
It's really good.
That's awesome.
It's so good that I'm already done my bottle. But
Well done.
so I mean, I've got a fridge full of regular, normal, boring Coke Zero if I run out. But yeah, no, it's quite tasty, and I like the pink stuff. I liked it when they brought it out first time. I like it now that they've put a different name on it, but the color is the same and the taste is the same, so it's all good.
So does it taste pink?
Or like
Yeah,
strawberry?
Absolutely. It doesn't taste like anything in nature.
Okay.
Okay, that checks out. Yeah.
Right. So one of the cool things when I was
And
in
here's,
Scotland,
I have a thing for drinks that don't taste like anything else. My other normal drink is peace tea, specifically
I know you
this
froze.
stuff, right? This is snowberry tea. Snowberries are poisonous. So I don't know who decided it was a good idea to make an iced tea that tasted like poison berries, but apparently if you get rid of the poison, they're pretty good.
Nice.
If you get anything else.
Nice.
So,
That's excellent.
and it also goes well with rum. So yeah, those are my recommendations. Is rum that is like standard issue and a half again, and then mixed with either cotton candy pink Coke or
Poisonberry tea. Yeah.
Poisonberry tea. Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty cool. I'm gonna
Do they
definitely
have
put some
lids over
poison.
there?
Yeah, poisonberry tea is
I didn't
going
even
in
know
the
that
story.
snowberries were actually a thing. And when I lived in BC, we would go down to Washington all the time. And one time we parked just in behind the Goodwill that we would go to and went for a stroll down this little creekside park path thing. As we were walking along, I see these bushes, and the bushes have these little white berries on it. And I'm like, no.
They do exist.
I'm like, is that snowberries? Are those snowberries? And I pull it up and I'm like looking at the leaves and looking at the berries. Like, it is.
Yeah.
This is the poison stuff. This is my iced tea. And Michelle was like, okay,
No,
that's
you
weird.
can't get some and try to make it on your own.
Yeah,
Correct.
no, they would not go for that at all. But yeah, you get these things that apparently exist somewhere in reality, but it turns out snowberries grow in Washington State, and they're bad news if you eat them, but they're tasty if you drink it.
Do not try this at home, folks.
Yes,
Buy it from a
right.
professional source.
Disclaimer: don't ever take advice from Jamie on drinks.
Don't do it. Yeah. Do not take advice on poison berries from the internet. That is an
Right.
important rule
Good
Yeah.
for
safety tip.
life. Yeah.
Good safety tip. Yeah.
Casey, what do you
That's
got?
I'm so exciting, you guys.
Mhm.
Totally living on the edge here.
I love it.
I have watermelon infused water.
Right. That's right.
So, yeah, I'm boring. I don't drink alcohol, but
Just
I'm not
boring?
boring because
No, it's normal.
I'm a
That's okay.
pot stirrer. That's my designated.
Correct.
I'm the designated pot stirrer tonight. So
Yeah. Also,
You guys-
to be clear, alcohol is not the bar of fun.
No.
yeah,
It
no,
can,
for
it
sure.
can help, but
Sure.
yours still very
Sure.
fun.
Yeah. But see, I always think of it as like a social lubricant, right? And
Mhm.
and a what's that word? Inhibition lowerer.
Mhm.
And I'm fucking crazy to begin with. So the inhibitions that I have left are there for a really good reason.
There's safety rails, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
See, I suppose the introverts
Like
like me
bumper bowling.
be able to get off
Yeah.
the wall. So
Yeah, that's
good.
right.
Yeah.
That's right. So yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm drinking watermelon infused water because I'm fancy like that.
I love
Very
it.
good.
So some folks watching this might already know that a number of CKP authors meet on a somewhat weekly basis. No, we can't talk about it, but stays in Vegas. Go ahead, Jamie.
Did you mention what you're drinking tonight, Marisa?
No, not yet. I'm getting there.
Is this okay? Let's lead it. This is
the
leading.
intro.
This is part of
Yes.
the story.
Yeah.
All right.
So
You're good?
of
Carry on?
the no social safety rails here. So so on this previous weekday
Previously
and evening.
on
Shut up,
CKP
words.
Last Call.
Right. So on this last Saturday, there was one of those cantinas. Prior to that, however, I had recorded one of these episodes.
Mhm.
I will let the viewer try to decide which one. I think you'll be able to tell. And so I show up to the cantina after that recording, and they're having a very professional discussion.
Yes, very serious.
About
Good.
royalties, genuinely, not sarcastic. It was very serious, which sometimes we do, right? It was a very serious conversation about
Good
costs
info.
and writing, super helpful. I came on drunk and was not having it. And I was
fair,
like,
you brought friends.
oh,
Y'all need
yeah,
to lighten up.
we staggered on,
That's
to be
very
clear,
good.
we staggered on one at a time, but I was there first. And I remember this because Kacey messaged me and we started giggling because I was like, I am super drunk. Are we going to do not serious things or only serious things? I
She
can't
goes,
be here for serious.
Is there actually fun happening? Because if not, I'm out. I'm so
I gotta
drunk.
go. I'm so
And
drunk.
so
I
I
haven't
was
been
like-
drunk in a year. I gotta go enjoy
Okay.
this shit.
Okay, I'm gonna make fun things happen. So I just started
Yeah.
laughing, and
Yeah,
she
so-
started laughing.
So we were
And-
giggling. And
yeah.
then Kevin Steverson, who was also on the call, called us out on it and called us mean girls. And I was like, no, to be fair, we were being very polite because we were keeping my chaos maintained. And about that time, Nick Steverson, well, now I've given it away, but Nick
Yeah.
Steverson got on the
And
call.
critical mass was achieved.
Like he
And that was
staggered
it.
into the call.
He
Yeah,
slurped in. It was great.
Here's the rails. Here's the cantina.
There were no rails. So my social safety rails are probably in place for other people's safety, not just mine. Because when I get chaotic, it spreads.
It was so much fun. It was so much fun. Yeah.
So I think Jamie got pretty drunk within
I
that.
got buzzed. I got
You
buzzed.
got buzzed. Okay.
Yeah.
Several
Yeah.
other authors got drunkety drunk because they messaged me the next day, like, how are you feeling? I'm doing great. Chugged a bunch of water.
Between all the booze and staying up to like 4:30 in the morning, wasn't a great combination.
Yeah. And some people had to work the next day. That was my favorite part.
That's rough.
Yeah.
So to that note, what I'm drinking tonight is the same thing. So if you are watching these videos, you can watch the level in this drop because I'm only drinking it on these. So hooray. Not so bad. So I am drinking ginger infused bourbon, as one does. It's from Charleston, South Carolina, famed, I tell you, for its ginger infused bourbon.
It will be after these.
It will be at these. It's so, you guys, it's so good. I bought it
And what's
on
your
the recommendation. Virgil Cane.
No, how much horsepower does it have?
Oh, great question. 40% alcohol by volume. It's not like crazy.
So,
but then I also mix it
on fire mixed with gunpowder.
Yeah, then I also mix it with ginger beer, because it's an Irish mule, or like a Kentucky mule, I guess, because bourbon. A low country mule is what I started calling it because South Carolina.
That's a good name.
But it's got its built-in lime already, so I don't need a third ingredient, which makes it ideal for mixing at my desk while on these calls.
After the invisible hands,
especially when you have an invisible hand to bring ice.
Yeah,
correct.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah. Look,
Right.
if you're married to the CKP producer, he supplies you with ice. That's just the perks.
Right.
Yeah, that's a pretty good perk.
That's like on in his job description. Like,
Ice dispenser.
Supply ice to Marisa first.
Yes, to the talent.
To the
just one of them, but to the talent.
A talent.
one of
the
it's in quotes, so it's fine. 1/16 of the talent. Thank you so much.
One particular talent.
To the in-studio talent.
To the in-studio talent. Very good.
Thank
yes,
you.
very good.
You.
Oh,
It's like there's a logical way to say
this is why we keep you around, because you're super smart.
Because he names shit. He's real good. It's like
you are good at like I'm gonna come to you for all my book titles. I suck at book titles, you guys.
Me too.
I hate book titles. Yeah.
It's really bad.
It's
and
hard.
I had a good one for this book I'm writing, but like 20 years ago, John Ringo got there first. So it's totally a race. Damn his talent.
Well, I expect you to give him crap for it next time we're at LibertyCon. I'm like,
Wow,
dang it, John, 20 years ago, you stole my title.
How dare you?
How dare you, sir? How dare you?
How dare you? It's fine.
At least it wasn't stolen like a couple months later. Like
yeah.
But anyway.
I know. Titles are hard, right? It's so hard to come up with a good one, and especially if you're in the process at the same time, you won't know in time. And like, I don't know. Once I have a title that I like, fuck, nothing is going to change it. Like, it's done. If I've already decided, because it's such a hard process for me to title anything. I think both Kacey and Jamie have renamed short stories of mine, and they were exactly right, because I'm terrible at titles.
I don't remember doing that.
You named Shit Day. Something else.
Yeah.
Wasn't that the one that got the blurb for the book was bounced on Amazon because of the cursing, and they're like,
it was cursing. You're like, that's literally the title of the story.
Right. People couldn't review it because of me.
Yes, we did. Marisa.
Yeah, it was me. So he ended up resubmitting it as super happy something, and it was pretty good.
Yeah. Super happy interesting times.
I think yours with me was in We Dare 2, right? 10 Breaths.
Yes. Yep.
That was a good one. I liked it a lot.
It was a great title too, so thank you for that. Because it was, I don't even remember what the title was first. It was terrible. But Jamie's like, yeah, so obviously it should be called this, right? And I was like, yep, totally fucking should. I should. Yep, thank you.
I think sometimes the author's too close, right, to really know what a good title is.
Maybe. But also some people are just really insightful. Like Oz is very insightful about titles. Jamie's also a very insightful editor, you guys. Like he's a really good writer, obviously. But like one of the most insightful, thoughtful editors I've ever worked with.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. He didn't even pay me to say that.
For when I really make someone mad, but that happens sometimes.
Oh. Not all edits are.
What's the pasta meme going around right now? Hands off my trash.
My trash. You're exactly right.
Hands off my trash. Dude, my job is to get my hands on your trash. Like, come on.
It's my trash. I love it. It smells just right.
Stop it.
It's fine. It's not like I'm deep into an editing process right now that makes me want to cry. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Editing is hard.
Editing is
Editing
hard.
is so hard.
Especially
When you've already edited it like 4 times. And then you get it back and you're like,
yeah. Or this is a first for me when you have made choices and already changed things. And while you were making that choice, you're like, I don't know if this is the right change. And then you get the notes back and you're like, not only was it not the right change, but now it's more work because I have to go back to the first thing I had that was right.
Yeah.
And fuck everything up that comes after. Trust your gut, writers, and then your editor, if you have a good editor.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what they say too, right? Is you know, I don't remember who the they was. It might have even been Heinlein said something about, you know, write what you write and then make edits according to what your editor says, and don't do any of the rest of it yourself.
Don't change it in the middle.
Just let someone else's eyes fix it and trust them.
Yeah.
And that can be tricky. I mean, I've done 6 anthologies at this point, and there are some stories that come in and I'm like, this is brilliant. You know, like
done. Yeah.
Contract done. Send it.
Yeah.
And then other ones are like, okay, so I'm gonna need you to rewrite the entire story with this protagonist instead of that one.
Yeah.
Or the first story I ever submitted to Jamie, where he's like, cool, so your story ends right when it gets interesting. And I was like, oh.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's accurate.
We call that chapter in a book.
Yes.
Story problem.
Yeah.
Not, this isn't a short story. You've written me a chapter in a book.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's something I'm trying to avoid. Like, I'm doing a short story for the Bane contest.
Nice.
Good luck.
One of the things, you know, it's like got to avoid the whole, you know, this is a chapter in a book thing.
Yeah.
Because it's part of
it's got to be a self-contained.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
really
you guys know Paul Pyatt. Paul sent me something, right, and he's hired me to edit his submission for Bane, and I got to the end of it, and I was like, "Hey, so this is a chapter in a book, huh?" And he was like,
"Fuck,
you got me."
Yeah.
I was like, "You should have stopped it here instead of there. If you'd stopped it here, it would have been great." So, like, good news. Here's 800 words that you can use elsewhere to buff up something else.
Nice.
But that last scene, no. Cut it.
Yeah,
get rid of
this.
It. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I think people don't understand, you know, what the process really is if they haven't tried writing. Fritz wrote a story. You guys know Fritz from LibertyCon. So having been to a couple LibertyCons at that point, I was like, hey, dude, I'm going to do another We Dare anthology. Have you written anything? Do you want to write something? Would you be interested? Because I'd like to get somebody, you know, who's a new wannabe writer writing something for the story. And he was like, yeah, that'd be amazing. I've never written anything for fiction wise. It'd be fun. And then he sent his story to a friend who is a writer. And she's like, well, this is an okay first draft. And he's like, oh, no. And then when he sent it to me, I was like, well, here's the problem, dude. You know, 95% of your story is flashback.
Yeah.
The only thing that actually happens in the story is your guy signs a clipboard.
Oh,
so
fuck. Yeah.
So let's spend some evenings working on tuning this up and turning it into a story where like there's stakes and stuff happens instead of it's all retrospective. And we did. We spent, you know, a fair bit of time, you know, rewriting things and turning it more into like a mystery thriller kind of a story. And at the end, I'm like, all right, we're good. We'll call it done. I'm accepting it. Awesome.
Nice.
And the first words out of Fritz's mouth were, fuck anyone who says this is easy.
You know, sometimes a story can come really easily, but it's not your first. It's never going to be your first story. Like, your first story might come easily, but it's going to need some work. But I wrote one for an anthology called Onward LibertyCon. It's another anthology you should go buy. It supports an awesome scholarship, and LibertyCon is amazing. And I wrote that story in 2 days, I think. And I changed like one thing. I got maybe 3 or 4 edits. And they were solid. Like they were some key edits they needed to happen, but they weren't extensive rewrites. And that story is one of my favorite short stories. But that was also like the 15th short story I ever wrote.
Yeah.
So
Well, and there's difficulty and there's difficulty, right? So
Yeah,
sometimes it's difficult to write a story because you're like, I don't know. I don't know what should happen here. I'm stuck, or, you know, this feels boring, or it's grindy, or, you know, whatever. Sometimes it's just difficult to get the words on the page.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's difficult because you're so into it, you're opening a vein on the page.
Good point.
And it's flowing, but you're like dealing with shit through the writing, and that is not an easy process either. And it's difficult in a totally different way.
You know what really struck me when we were talking in the Cantina chat was when Kevin Eikenberry was talking about his process writing. I don't remember which of I think it was Stand on It. No, not Stand on It. That's the short story. Stand or Fall.
Stand or Fall.
The one where the major supporting character dies.
Yeah.
Right? And he tells the story about him in the coffee shop working away on his laptop, and he gets to this scene and he's just like, and then he writes it, and then he's like sobbing as he's writing, and the barista comes over and like, "Are you okay, sir?"
Okay.
Like, I'm fine. I'm a writer.
Yeah,
we are.
Yeah.
Do you know the story?
And that's probably what made those characters so compelling, right? Is that like he bleeds it out onto the page, and it just grabs you by the heart and by the emotions, and you love it. And that's what I think, you know, is so amazing is when you really have kind of poured your soul out onto the page that way, and it comes across.
But you have to feel it for other people to feel it. Yeah. What was that, Oz?
What were you saying?
We lost you.
So you know my story, Numbered Days, from the Depic anthology.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So there's an aging Besquith and an aging Depic in there.
Mm-hmm.
And not only is there the whole like aging theme, which, you know, it's like, you know, as time goes on, I feel more keenly, but also those were based on my childhood dog and my first cat.
Yeah.
And like,
so,
I was typing in, I literally like.
Yeah.
There were like 2 edits on that story, and they had nothing to do with the quality of the story, because that story was fucking amazing. Also, guys, go buy Negotiation.
Yeah. So here's a fun fact about Negotiation. At least 2, I think more like 4 of our contributing authors, I don't know if I ever told you this, Marisa, had messaged me at some point and were like, just so you know, my goal is to make you cry, because you always make me cry. And I was like, cool, bro. Like, this is gonna be an interesting.
And you have that effect on people, to be fair.
I didn't send that message.
Huh?
I did not send that message.
No, there was no preview. There was just, here's the story. And I was like,
yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, at least 2 people messaged me, but I think it was more like 4 who they were like, okay, this is gonna happen. Like, I'm opening a vein on the page. Yeah. So it's
heavy.
But it can be good, right? Like, that's what really, you know,
and it can be cathartic.
It can be cathartic.
Agreed. Yeah.
And it can be cathartic for the writer and for the reader, you know? So I recently had another friend of ours ask about like portrayals of grief in writing. And I was like, well, I wrote this for the space opera for the first volume of the space opera that I'm developing for CKP. The main character loses her husband like right before the book starts, and so she's dealing with that at the first part of the book. And I was like, I could send that to you if you're interested. And she took a look at it, and she did say that she thought it was helpful. But that's another scene that, like, when I'm writing it, it choked me up, and I have never been, thank goodness, through that particular form of grief. But it's one of those things where it's like, you know, we've all felt loss, right? And so if it's something that you can plug into that will really resonate with the reader, then you've got them, you know?
A little more obscure is in the anthology In the Wings, which is the secondary characters, like second fiddle carries the tune. It's about Bjorn's best friend who dies in the first book.
Yeah.
And we see their friendship go as he's like going through his friend's apartment, because, like, you know, he has no family or anything. So, and he's like, each thing like brings back a memory. The thing is, that character was based on a friend of mine my best friend in college, who committed suicide.
Yeah.
And so again, that was kind of like here, I'm going to rip my heart out and write it out on the page.
Let you see it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oof.
Oof.
You know what?
Damn.
So as long as we're on the really emotional stuff topic,
I know.
Right. Since we're here. Yeah.
yeah, right. I've just finished editing We Dare 5, and it's all about veterans, right? And the thing that surprised me is that of the 15 stories that I got, 14 of them had perhaps not a happy ending, but things were in relatively okay shape.
Hopeful ending.
Yeah, hopeful.
Yeah.
I kind of expected more stories about like a vet choosing to like make the heroic last stand, or to decide, like to go out on their own terms or something like that. And the last story in the anthology, I'll warn you right now, made me cry.
Yeah.
Right. I get to like the last 3 paragraphs, and I can like, I've got this like sense of dread coming on. I'm like, oh no, right?
Yeah.
You made it worse. And then he made it worse. I was like, oh my God. Okay. And I like walked away. I came back like, 5 minutes later after I had like, okay, like, and it's really good. And you know what? Here's the thing. It's from a guy, I've never read his stuff before, but he's really good. His name is Nate Givens. And he found out about, like, I ended up with a couple of empty slots as the due date went whizzing past. And so I advertised on the Writer Dojo.
Yeah.
I said, hey guys,
nice.
if you're an awesome writer and you want to send me something really fast, here's the deal.
Quick. Yeah.
And so I pitched it, and I got 8 submissions, and I liked this one so much that I went to Chris and I was like, can I have an extra slot in the story in the anthology, please? Because I've got 3 that I really want to include, and I've only got slots for 2.
Nice.
And it's like, you can have 3 slots. And I said, thank you. So yeah, so when everybody who's watching this reads We Dare 5,
out soon or now, check the link.
Yeah, well, yeah, right. It'll be out second half of May. I'm not sure which day exactly, but second half of May it'll be out. And Nate Givens' story is really powerful. Of all of the stories in the anthology, I like that one. And
That's
I mean,
exciting.
They're all solid 9s, but this one is like a 9.8. So
yeah. No, that's
so. On the whole topic of crime, so do you ever write something that like brings you to tears, but like in a good way?
I have a scene. Yeah, go ahead.
So in the end of Hunting the Heart 5, I with no spoilers, there's basically a scene that I would say combines the end of Guardians of the Galaxy with the end of the new Ghostbusters movie.
Very cool.
And I'm writing this, and I'm like, why am I crying while I'm writing this?
Yeah.
I am
because you've spent 4 9/10 of a book with these characters.
Getting there. Yeah. In Hunter, I had one of those moments where I had the notepad by my bed. I was falling asleep and I was like, oh shit, I have to write the scene. So I wrote on the notepad, and thank God for once, I woke up the next morning and I was like, yes, this makes sense. And I'm going to write it. And I wrote it, and as I was writing it, I teared up and I was like, oh fuck, is this good? Or am I so tired? And I sent it to Kacey, and she was like, yeah, that's really good. I cried. And I was like, okay, great. Cause it's not sad. It's, it's not that big of a spoiler. It's basically when the first time on screen a character redeems a Depic favor token.
Yeah.
And so
that
happened. And I was so proud of myself. I was also so proud of like that 2 a.m. brain that came up with it and made it make sense on a Post-it. That was very exciting.
Yeah. For sure.
Write it down.
I was like, I couldn't remember. And it made sense in the morning. It wasn't like tiger bomb. It made sense.
Yeah.
Just as an idea, it might be neat to talk about, to have a session kind of like we're having tonight, where we talk about those emotional scenes, those heavy moments, those things that speak to us. I know, like in Ringo's Prince Rogers series, everybody talks about the I'm going to forget his name now because I've had a drink and a half.
Some rum.
The Last Prince of Théoden. Everybody who's read the series will know the character I'm talking about. He's like the gunslinger alien with 4 arms, and thinks that like, non-matchlock semi-auto guns are really cool. And he holds the line all by himself as Prince Roger's making like the final hit at the Empress's Palace. And people can just like quote the opening line to it, and everybody's just like, oh.
Love it.
Right. And right now, Michelle and I are listening to not the original Deed of Paxenarian trilogy, but the follow-up 5 books. And Stammel, who was Pax's sergeant when she signed up, he's invaded by a demon, and then when he eventually defeats the demon, he's blinded, and then he goes and works for Dragon for a while as the blind archer, and then eventually he kind of retires to this off the coast island. And the islanders know that pirates come and raid them every once in a while, and he's trained everybody up on like, when the pirates hit, here's what you do, right? You're going to take, these are the important things. This is what's going to let you survive the attack. This is what's going to let you rebuild after they're gone. And here's the cave where you're going to hide, right? And we're going to do drills, and we're going to get everybody ready. And then when they do hit, everybody starts packing up and going. And then he goes to his spot, right? And he's the blind archer, and he's got this crossbow that he's able to basically snipe at the bad guys and hold the line against them for as long as he can until they finally flank him and they kill him. And oh my God, like we normally listen to audiobooks when we're driving. I had to pull over.
Yeah. That's
because
fair.
like here's like the steadfast badass, like he's everybody's best NCO they've ever experienced, all this kind of thing. And then it just like, there's a story about like a guy who went out on his own terms, right? Like he wasn't going to sit around and let old age take him. He was going to make it mean something.
Yeah.
And wow.
There's a scene in it's one of Raymond Feist's books that I remember reading as a kid, and it got me then. And I can't remember if it's Silverthorn or Darkness at Sethanon, but there's a character he's kind of just sort of a throwaway character, right? He's like one of the childhood friends of Laurie, who is one of the main characters in that whole series. And as the main party is adventuring, north to the Dark City, they like run into this guy, and he joins them. He's a mercenary. I think his name is Rold, right? And there's this amazing scene where after they've done, the stuff and gotten the thing, and they're retreating back. Do you know which scene I'm talking about, Jamie? They're
no, I don't know the story at all. But after he's done the thing and gotten the stuff, I mean, like,
it's perfect. Yeah.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
No spoilers. Right? Yeah, let's go. Yeah.
They're retreating back, and they're like going through the mountains, and there's like a rock slide, and it like takes them all out, and the dark elves are like right behind them, like right on their tail, and his legs are broken, and he's, they're like trying to bring him, and he's like, no, leave me, I'll buy you time. And he pulls out 2 swords. He's sitting on his butt because his legs are broken, pulls out 2 swords and starts singing, and they hear him singing as they're like fleeing desperately through the trees until the singing stops. And it's just like the way that he wrote it was so like impactful. I mean, I read it as a kid, and it still stays with me, and it's just a minor character, but it was it was the death scene on top of like, he was just a good dude. He was portrayed as a good dude the whole time.
And then bad stuff happened, and he made the most of it.
I would say like people who are masters of like the crowning moment of awesome in a good way that could make you tear up. Like top of my head, Robert Jordan, Lois McMaster Bujold, and Anne McCaffrey. Yeah, all will have a moment in the book, at least one. With Robert Jordan, I feel like it's maybe every couple of books sometimes, because they got a little long. But every character has one, and just this like crowning moment where all their characterization checks in and they level up or something happens, and I will inevitably tear up. And I would say they are master. I think David Weber is really good at that too. Like, there are so many people who are just good at being like, and here's something awesome. And you're like, oh, I love it. Why am I sad?
The crowning moment of awesome is basically my favorite trope, right? Like, I go on TV tropes all the time. I like to okay, well, like for this genre, like what tropes do we lean into? What helps, define the genre? Even if you're subverting them, it's got to be there.
Yeah.
And crowning moment of awesome moments are some of my favorite moments in fiction, period. So,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, like,
they're so good.
So
we
take,
need
for
an
example,
episode on that too, is what you're saying. Okay, just taking notes. It's fine.
well, right, you know, example, Captain America when he calls up Mjolnir in Endgame.
Oh,
Yeah.
I cried. Yep.
Yeah, that's a good moment.
You know,
That's a
here
really
we've
good
got
moment.
like what 15, 18 movies, and then all of a sudden Thor shows up, and it's not coming to Mjolnir's not coming to Thor, and Thor's like, I knew it, and then the two of them, boom, you know, they just dominate that whole scene. And
Also,
that
on your
kind of
left.
stuff. Yes,
on your left.
Your
That's a
left
good one.
gets me. One of the early ones, like the first Thor movie, you know, when he's there, and you know, I mean, even though we all know it's going to happen, and then you see Odin like in his crypt with like the one tear, and it flashes back to him whispering to the hammer. And it's like we all know what's going to happen, but still in that whole moment of like redemption, it's like it's like.
So I've got an unexpected crowning moment of awesome for you guys. Are you ready?
Yeah.
And it is the crowning moment of awesome for the character, but it is also kind of a crowning moment of awesome just for the like overall movie. The movie is Shrek 3.
Amazing. Love it.
Shrek 3. There's a moment where, you know, because there's all the princesses and they've all been like imprisoned along with Fiona, and they're like, you know, the princesses are breaking out, and there's my favorite moment in the whole movie is they're like, okay, now we have to infiltrate the palace. How are we going to get past the front gate? And Snow White's like, I got this. And she starts singing her way up. She's la 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 la. And there's this incredible like cinematographically, is that a word?
Sure.
It is
For
now.
an animated series, like just the artists it was amazing because she does this thing where she's like, da, 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 you know, dancing around, and then she looks up and is like, ah, and then
the
Immigrant Song, and it is so perfect because she's like, and then it's the scream from Immigrant Song, and the birds fucking attack, and it's
amazing.
like that was a crowning moment of awesome. 100%.
That is a good one.
100%.
So on that note, alas, it is an hour in, but we have notes for more, so you'll hear more from these people. I know. Thankfully, there's a timer in the corner. We'd be here till 10. So you guys, this is awesome. So let's go around and talk about where people can find you on these internet streets, out in the world, whichever, both. And something they should look for specifically. We pitched a lot of anthologies that you guys should totally read.
You should read them all.
If there's something you were like, one more time with feeling, go for it.
Yeah. Who do you want to start with?
Let's do the same circle. So we'll go Kacey, Jamie, Jon, me.
Okay. So I'm Kacey Ezell. You can find me at kaceyezell.net or .com. I own both. And I am also, you can also find me here on YouTube over at Kacey Ezell Writer Life if you're interested in more of, well, my writer life. My latest release is the anthology No Game for Knights, which is came out from Baen Books in hardcover in September and will soon be out in mass market paperback. So stay tuned for that. That one is an anthology of science fiction and fantasy noir stories, focusing on the character archetype of the noir detective. So lots of crowning moments of awesome in that one. So you guys should definitely check that out. Lots of other things. So go read them all.
I'm Jamie Ibson, and you can find me at ibsonwrites.ca because, as we mentioned, Canadian. So that's IBSON, not an E. Writes.ca. You'll find a dozen short stories on there that you can grab for free. Just sign up for my newsletter and grab any or all of those that you like. Latest release was last year when I did A Murder of Wolves in the Eldros Legacy. And I'm working on the sequel now. And the next thing coming out for me is going to be the We Dare anthology called Old Age and Treachery, focusing on veterans and life after service. And I also run the relatively quiet, relatively sedate Frozen Hosers Winter Wasteland on Discord. And there's links kicking around as well. Yeah. Otherwise, next thing up after A Murder of Wolves 2 is going to be re-releasing Herbicide broken up into novellas along with the other novels that have been written in the meantime. And we're just going to collectively call that Starpunk.
Love it.
Jon.
I am Jon R. Osborne. You can find me at jonrosborne.com, on Facebook at Jon R. Osborne, Instagram at Jon R. Osborne, on Twitter.
I'm sensing a theme.
At Oz, because that was before I started writing.
Consistency. I love it.
My latest work, if you want to see that really cool Guardians of the Galaxy times Ghostbuster Afterlife scene, is Hunting the Heart, Book 5 of the Milesian Accords, out now in print and Kindle, and coming out May 16th on audio.
Awesome.
Woo! And I am Marisa Wolf. You can find me at marisawolf.net, marisawolf.com. I go both ways. I will never get tired of that joke. I mostly because at least one person, thank you, Jamie, will do that for me. Thank you. John, what is my latest? I think my latest is World Enders in the 4HU. But lots of, and it's so much fun.
And
Old
chicks.
West Otter. Oh yeah, Chicks and Tank Top. Well, hold on, we'll come right back to that. Old
Speaking of
West
anthologies,
style Sheriff Otter Alien main character. It's a delight. I wrote that with Chris Kennedy. It's so much fun. And Chicks and Tank Tops from Bane, where you can read one of my bonkers short stories, which will lead directly into my novel from Bane coming out in early 2024 called Beyond Enemies. So go ahead and just put that on your calendar. Just mark off that whole quarter for me. Just January through March, just all of them. You can find me in the real world if that is your jam at LibertyCon, where I think everybody on this call. Yeah, you can see all of us there. Catch some of this nonsense in real life. It'll be awesome.
Bring us beer.
Yeah, bring us beer. There's a rumor. It's not a rumor. We just have to figure out how to make it happen. That we're going to do one of these last calls live at Liberty. So you
what
maybe
a train wreck that's going to be. That's going to be so much.
100%.
Open.
So secretly, guys, if you're watching this and you come up to me at LibertyCon and you're like, hey, I watched this video and I heard you guys are doing this live, maybe you get an invite. Maybe you can watch this bullshit in real life and enjoy the hell of it. I'm saying. Also, if you like books, you like dogs, you can follow me on Instagram at bookdogs. That's what I do there. It's mostly my dogs. I'm not sorry. And
Hey, I have a suggestion.
Go for
it. Hey, internet people watching this, you should leave, if you like this kind of like content, this kind of format, leave comments with suggestions for drunken topics that you want to see.
Other things you should talk about.
Yeah. And like the video because it's awesome. And
what's your favorite dinosaur?
So that would be fun.
I have
for 20
thoughts.
minutes.
I have many thoughts. We could talk about this for a while.
I'm gonna cut us off here though, guys, because my drink is empty and that means we're done. But catch you here next time, or maybe at LibertyCon. We'll see ya.